Hello guys, welcome back to another video. This is part of our Power BI series or Power BI course. Today what we will be looking at is how we can get data into Power BI, and we will start exploring some of the tools available uh, for the user to create the dashboard. So for this purpose I have a spreadsheet uh, ready. It's a very simple spreadsheet with few columns: product name, city, country, and current stock of various products like jackets, gloves, blazers, trainers, caps, etc. in different countries and different cities. And what we have is a Power BI desktop version. You can also use an online version, but desktop does have much more flexibility and ease of use and user friendly um, to use. So to start with, to begin with, what we need to do is link a data source to our Power BI dashboard. If you can see on the toolbar, you have this icon named as data source. If you click the drop down arrow, the data source, you can see there are quite a few different data sources that a Power BI can be linked to. And the most common and the most easier one is the Excel workbook, the first one on the list. There are other data sources available as well, like Power BI, semantic model, data flows, data verse, SQL server, a web source, or any other uh, similar kind of table that you can link. What we are going to use, we are going to use an Excel workbook to start with. Let's just click on the Excel workbook, and we can see I have saved this Excel workbook on the C drive somewhere. So yeah, this PC, and if I just go to YouTube and Power BI dashboard workbook. So when I click this workbook, it's trying to connect to the workbook, and here you can see is the workbook here. Like this is the same data set which we have over here. Like if you can see product name, city, country, and current stock, and same as product name, city, country, and current stock, we can simply load this data. It will take a few seconds depending how long, how complex your data set is. Now you can see in this data pane over here, the worksheet that is in your workbook named as stock is now appearing over here with all four columns as fields: cities, countries, current stock, and product name. So we are going to use these four fields to start with and see how different tools we can use on the Power BI. If you can see the visualization pane, it has many different tools. There are graphs, card, matrix, table, slicer, and there are so many other tools that you can use when to link with your data. Let's start with a very simple tool. Let's see if we want to use the table. We can simply click the table over here, and the table is blank because we have not linked any of the fields yet. What we can do, we can simply drag in the column from the from the data source to see how it will look like over here. If you can see over here, It's Birmingham, Leeds, London, Manchester, Munich, Paris, and home. So it is a unique list, even though if I go into our data set, the city names are repeated quite a few times depending on the product type, but here it is a unique list. What we want to have a look at, maybe the stock level of the products in each of the cities. So I can take the product name and place, drag and drop onto the fields column for table like this. Now because this is being repeated multiple times, so if you can see, this is exact a carbon copy uh, of our spreadsheet. What is the current stock? As you can see, there is a summation sign with this. It means Power BI has recognized this field as a numerical field. Let's just put that field over here, and by default, if this field is repeated, it will sum it up into one number. Okay, so as you can see, the Birmingham has 225 available blazers, 1100 caps, 1450 gloves, and similar to other cities like Leeds, Manchester, Munich, Paris, and Rome, right? So what we can do now, we can play around with this table for a bit and see what other things we can do with the table, and how we can format this table as per our needs. So what we can simply do, we can click on the characteristics of the visual here. When we click on the characteristic, we can see the many different options for this visual. There are two categories. One is the visual itself, you can see, and the general setting. If I go into the general setting, what I can do, I can change the title. For example, I can change the title of this table as stock level. If you can see on the top, I can see the stock level appears as a title. I can make this as bold. I can centralize this, and I can also make it as a divider as well. I can adjust the spacing between the title and the content. Maybe I can say customize spacing, and it is, if you can see, it is 15 px. We can make a subtitle as well. So what subtitle we would like to be, we can say product stock levels by city. We want this to be a centralized on the page. What we can do, we can go and change the color of the text maybe to blue, and underline, and we can increase the size to maybe 22, right? So this is our stock level or stock table, product stock levels by city, and you can see all the products and the cities and the quantity available. What we can also do, we can move these products and things up and down to see if we want to change, if we want to have the product name first, city after, and the stock after. We can also just right click. Maybe if you can see, this says sum of current stock. What we can do, we can right click and rename this visual for this this field. We can rename this field for this visual as current stock, right? What we also can do, we can go into the characteristics of the visual. We can go to the column headers. Okay, let's say we want a background, say blue, Like, see, if you can see, we want the text color to be, say, white. Let's do it a bit darker, and let's change size to a bit bigger so that it's readable easily. We can adjust the column width as we like to, and we can also select the alignment for the column headers. What we can also do, we can see the totals, and we can adjust the specific columns to a different look differently if you want to. We can also adjust the values. If we see the values over here, if you can see, it is at the default look of the table tool. Alternate lines are on a different color. We can simply remove that to on the same color like this, if you can see over here, and we can increase the font size. We can also rename this total to any other, or we can simply hide the totals like this, right? If we can see, there are different style presets available. If you look, there are default style. We can have this style. We can have a bold border style like this. We can have alternative rows, which was there previously, and we can have a flashy rows like this, or bold or condensed if you have if you want to use the less space. There are other elements that you can do with the visuals. These are some generic characteristics or properties you can set with all the tools available, all the visuals. We can select effect, we can have a visual border like this, and we can have a shadow like this, right? And it is, if you can see at the moment, all the cities with all the products and with the current stock level. What we can now also do, let's change the visual, allow the user to filter on a particular product, for example. So what we can use, a slicer. If I just simply click the slicer, another blank visual appears on the screen. What I have to do is just select the product name and put into the field box. Now what you can see is a checkbox list of the list of products available in that spreadsheet. If I only want to see gloves, for example, I can simply click gloves, and the list is filtered to gloves, the total quantity of gloves in each of the cities available. For example, I want to see the gloves and caps together, or if I want to see, if you can see, the slicer is not allowing you to select the multiple items. We can change this behavior by selecting the slicer, going into the characteristics, and if you can see, there is a slicer setting tool on top. So slicer setting has, first option is this style. It is a vertical list. We can have a drop down menu like this, right? And what we can do, a selection, multi-select or single select. We can say only single select item. For example, if you can see, the checkbox has now switched or changed to radio buttons. Now you can only select one item at a time. If I want to see gloves, I can see gloves, the quantity of gloves in each of the cities. If I want to see the jackets, I can see the quantity of jackets in each of the cities. Now I can even reduce it further to filter it further with the cities if I want to, but let's just do it with just the product name as of now. Okay, and then we can do a multi-select as well, like we want to allow the slicer to multi-select and select all option. Now we can select all, or we can just select any two. For example, select all and remove the gloves and jackets. It will show you caps and trainers only, or you can select all, or you can just do a single select like this, right? And then let's just do some more settings on the slicer, like the uh, the table general settings. We have slicer general settings as well. We can change the title if you want to. Stock level, for example, the title we can change is the product name is already there, it's picking it up from the field. We can just change to products like this. If you don't like that thing, just remove the title, and you can recolor or redesign this field by simply going into the slicer setting and slicer header. Just like a product name over here, we can change the color to maybe blue, and we can have a background if you like to, for example this color, and we can change the icon if you like to, if there is an icon over there. What about the values? We can change the values. We can increase the size, font size, and the font name in the values. Like if you can see, I have changed the font size. I can also increase the row padding, the gap between the options, like 6. If you can see, the gap between the options is now increased a bit. We can also just change. We can have a border if you like to. We can have background if we like to, but leave it as it is for now. We will do more settings and more designing when we will have more data in our tool. You can have general setting over here, effects, you can have visual border, and you can have a shadow like this. So what we are now doing, we are filtering the data set based on a slicer, whichever we want to see. Let's see what is the stock level of gloves in each of the cities, Birmingham, Leeds, and we want to see the total stock level. So we can select on the visual. We can go into the settings again and see the totals over here, and we can simply switch on the total over here. We can change the background color, for example, to this, or maybe to this, and we also can change the font color if you like to. So there are multiple options available to use, multiple settings you can do with these visuals. Most of these settings are pretty standard generic settings, but there are some visual specific settings are there as well. So you can change the size of the visual as you like, and if the data is longer than the visual, the scroll bars appears automatically. So if I do like this, you can see the scroll bar is appearing because the data is hidden, and The same is with the vertical scroll bar. So if I reduce it, you can see the scroll bar is appearing over here, right? So this is the visual table tool and the slicer tool we have used. In the next video we are going to use some more tools, and we will increase or enhance our data set as well. We can also name the page of this report as stock level, like this, and we will keep adding the pages, and we will keep enhancing this report and see how the whole dashboard and multiple report and visuals look like. In the next video we will be looking at cards and the matrix, a very useful tools, and very helpful when we create more advanced level dashboard. And in the following videos we will also be using some DAX coding, some measures, and some programming that makes your dashboard produce the data outside of your workbook data. What here we can see is the some other Power BI tools. If you want to see your table, you can simply click the table. You will see the table here. If you want to see the interaction of this table with any other table, we only have one table at present, so there is no interaction happening. There is no link with other tables. But when we will have more data, we will create these links, and then there is an option of doing some coding here, which we will see. This is your report. This report will look like at this. What we can do, we can save this as a Power BI report in the same place where we have saved our Power BI dashboard. And we will save it, and we will restart the work from here in the next video. There will be another video coming soon with all these options available, and then some general introduction to how we can start the Power BI dashboard work. So please do subscribe. If you like the video, there are some other very informative videos on Visual Basic, Excel formulas, and some other interesting topics. So please do like and subscribe, and the next video will be coming soon. Thanks for watching. Thank you.